Jurassic World Stillbirth, where the dinosaur apocalypse is caused by a Snickers bar. Well, guys, I just finished watching Jurassic World Rebirth, and what can I say other than it was absolutely mid. The most mid movie I have seen in a minute. It really does go to show this franchise is nothing without Steven Spielberg, and even then, his Jurassic Park sequels were not very good either. This is the kind of concept that you can only really do one time and have it be interesting, which is why, really, the only really solid films in the series were for the first Jurassic Park because of its groundbreaking technology, and maybe Jurassic World with Chris Pratt, the first one, which is okay. The last two were complete dookie. And I'm glad to at least say that this was better than those films, because what a mess those films were. But that's not a very high bar to reach, okay? Gosh, man, this movie got problems. It's entertaining at parts, definitely entertaining, but at the same time, the more I think about it, the less interested I become. Just trying to reassess what it is I just saw, trying to piece it together in my mind, it becomes less and less interesting the more I think about it, right? I actually walked away from this thinking, hey, I think that was good. And then I got home and I'm like, yeah, this is mid. Let's start off with what is the main issues with this movie, right? No characterization, basically, at all. There's very, very shallow attempts to develop characters, and they don't feel real. None of these characters really feel like very tangible people. And so interestingly, when we actually get into the point of the story when they're always running from the dinosaurs, that's actually when they feel the most human. When we get the least amount of character development is actually when I care about them the most. It's supposed to be the opposite in the story. The characterization is supposed to reveal more about them that we, audience, like. Instead, the more that they were actually in real mortal danger, the more I cared. Whereas when they were actually talking about themselves and when they were trying to showcase their personalities in more calm and peaceful scenes, I literally did not care. Other than maybe like one character alone, and that is the dude that is a nice scientist, because that guy's trying to get with Scarlett Johansson the whole movie, and I'm like, yeah, I'm rooting for you, my brother. I know how you feel, right? But apparently Scarlett Johansson no longer likes the male gaze. Never mind that she made a career out of it. Oh yeah, and by the way, yeah, characterization. Scarlett Johansson is basically not a character. She makes this whole thing, right, in the story about how I'm Spec Ops and like I'm like badass and stuff, right? And it's not insufferable. I want to make that clear. It's not like Captain Marvel, because I think the studio has somewhat learned that they can only girl boss so far before they move too close to the sun. But at the same time, though, it's so strange because I don't believe Scarlett Johansson in this badass role really at all, when we just saw her play Black Widow, a character that we actually do care about, for more than 10 years. And so she's literally basically playing a Spec Ops type operative in this movie. Essentially the same character as she was in Black Widow, with a slight variation on her personality. And somehow I don't believe Scarlett Johansson as this character when I fully believed her as the Black Widow. It's amazing. It truly goes to show you how good writing will take a character so far. Bad writing for even a good actor who we've seen play basically this exact character before can make us not connect or resonate with the character. It's funny. This is the opposite of character development in a film, and yet it works better when they did no character development than it did when they tried. Okay, so let's start off with the plot, right? This plot is nonsensical. Like I said in the intro, a Snickers bar set off the frickin' apocalypse. A Snickers bar. That is easily the stupidest part of this movie. But I'm glad that Snickers got their product placement in. They must be making bank off of this. You're not you without a Snickers. And in this case, the world is not in order unless it has a Snickers bar. So yeah, we start off this movie where we're in like a flashback sequence to 17 years ago, and we're watching like some shady ass like biology lab, you know, because in this park universe, they're always doing shady corpo shit, right? So we're seeing a bunch of biologists experimenting in some lab. And one of the biologists, who looks like just an absolute effeminate beta male, right? Even talks like him. He basically looks like Dave Filoni, okay? He's munching on, his fat ass is munching on a Snickers bar, right? By the way, isn't there like a strict rule for contamination? You're never supposed to eat or consume items like inside of a laboratory. Like, isn't that like rule number 1, right? Well, for the sake of plot, they threw it in anyway, because who cares about realism, right? So our fat ass biology man is eating his Snickers bar, and we come to find out he tries to open some vault door after he was finished working on his dinosaur for the day, his geoengineered GMO dinosaur. He has to get 2-man keys to open the door, right? So one person opens the door on one side with a key, and the other person has to open it from the other side, and that's how they open the door. So he's munching on a Snickers bar while he's trying to open the door, and he peels this Snickers wrapper off of the bar, right, when the door opens, and you know, he's a lazy bum, I guess, so he didn't just pick up his Snickers bar wrapper trash and throw it in the trash like a normal person. No, he just leaves it there on the floor. He walks out, and the doors are, they're automatically closing doors. So as the doors are closing, I guess there's like some like jet engine or whatever the fuck, like working this door mechanism. Like, I didn't even know a door could be that powerful, right? But this engine power has enough like strength where the door hinge basically sucks the Snickers bar into the engine part where the fan is, and this Snickers bar jams the freaking door. And that's enough to shut down, like, the whole freaking system, dude. And then just like that, the big-ass dinosaur, he gets out of his enclosure because a Snickers bar set off the apocalypse. And so the Snickers bar comes in and he eats that fat-ass beta meal because that's the big boy in the room, right? That's the nice protein that the dinosaur wants. And he's like, come get your fat ass over here, right? Like, oh my God, this is fucking terrible. So that happens, and then we finally meet our actual characters. We flash forward to the present day, where we're watching like New York City, and some like corporate white man is stuck in traffic in Brooklyn. That's a usual day in Brooklyn, but not for the normal reasons. He's stuck in traffic because there's a freaking brontosaurus like in the middle of the road in Brooklyn, just taking up the place, you know. And this sets up a huge plot hole later, and I'll explain why in a second. Well, basically, Scarlett Johansson, being a nice badass spy and stuff, she sneaks into this guy's car like Batman, and he gets back in his car, and she's sitting next to him in the passenger seat. And like I said, it's crazy. She literally played a badass spy woman who's a fighter for 10 years, and I do not believe her in this role at all, really. Well, anyway, corporate white man and Scarlett Johansson, they're talking in the car. And she tells him, yeah, I'm Spec Ops. Because if you're badass, you have to announce it, I guess. But anyway, they're talking, and he says, like, yeah, I got some deal. Like, we have to extract some dinosaur like DNA, right, from some live animals, so that we can use it to build a cure for cancer and like other diseases and whatnot. Basically, I Am Legend, except that apparently this is supposed to actually save humanity rather than turn them into zombies. This cure that they're trying to plan out, right? And by the way, this is just like research that they need. There's no guarantee that them even getting this DNA from the dinosaurs will actually lead to a scientific breakthrough. It's literally just optimized for R&D purposes only. This plot's nonsensical because how many years dinosaurs have existed now in the Jurassic World universe, right? Like 30 years? There's no reason why they need to do this expedition to go extract some DNA. They can easily do it from any dinosaur. Like I said, the brontosaurus blocking the road in Brooklyn, like they can get all that they need from that one dinosaur. But I guess, I don't know if I was missing something, but they're trying to make it seem like these are specialized dinosaurs and that's why they need the DNA. I don't know. That's how little I care because the dialogue is so like forgettable. Well, anyway, they say that we need to recruit some help. So they go to this museum. I don't know I think this might be the Museum of Natural History. I can't remember. But they show up and we get the one character in the story that I actually do care about. This kind of not quite nerdy. Actually, surprisingly, this guy is a scientist, really smart, wicked genius, who's actually masculine, actually kind of respectable. Like I said, the good news about this movie is that it's not really woke. That's not really a problem. It's definitely intersectional. You definitely notice it, like I said, especially with Scarlett Johansson, but it's not woke. They actually made the scientist guy actually masculine. This guy's actually got some beef on him, some muscle, right? And very quickly they set up like, oh, he's supposed to get with Scarlett Johansson. Like, I'm all for that, my boy. You know, let's do it, right? So they're setting sail on this island, yeah. And this is when the movie becomes complete dog shit. Like I said, the dialogue up until this point was uninspiring. The setup was uninspiring. It was starting to bore me a bit. Once we get out at sea, oh my God, does this movie slow down. Like, holy crap. Nothing happens for like the next 25 minutes, right? We're stuck at sea. And this is when we're trying to learn about our characters. They're trying to establish their personality. We get this really, really boring scene between Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson talking about their feelings and how they had to do some questionable things as Spec Ops people. And they start getting all like teary-eyed and stuff, you know, like grown adults, as if that's how they would behave when speaking with one another. They're getting all like touchy-feely and like indie film type emotion, right? And I'm like, who cares? This is a dinosaur movie, yeah? Then that scene is done. And I'm like, okay, surely we got to pick up the plot now. Nope. We then meet our second group of leads in this movie. We meet a whole new set of characters. A father, his two daughters, his little kid daughters, and the daughter's boyfriend, his teenage daughter's boyfriend. And oh my gosh, they're so annoying. The boyfriend actually is very annoying. Very annoying. He's a disrespectful little shit who disrespects his girlfriend's dad. Yeah, they're out at sea. They're on a sailboat trip, basically. And I guess they sailed where they weren't supposed to, because next thing you know, a freaking Mosasaurus is trying to like mate with their boat and like take them out and stuff like that, right? And they survive because they can't let kids die in a dinosaur movie. But man, they are annoying. They end up growing on me later. Actually, we'll admit that. But for the original introduction of these characters, they are trash. Okay? And then they survive that attack by the Mosasaurus. And then we cut back to our boat that has Scarlett Johansson, Mr. Corporal White Man, our merry band of friends. They're receiving a distress signal from the boat that got attacked by that guy's family. They're sending out a Mayday call, right? And they go and pick them up. And oh my goodness, this thing starts taking forever. I'm like, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? And then we get a scene where Scarlett Johansson's having a PTSD breakdown. And like, we don't care. Because we've never seen her do these things. We only heard it in exposition. We don't care. And then we finally end up on the destination island where they're trying to sail to for the first 40 freaking minutes of this movie. So finally, 40 minutes into this movie, we finally get going. This movie finally starts getting good. After it took us way too long to get the story going. Once it's on the island, this movie actually becomes entertaining. I don't want to say that it was good. Maybe there's good elements, but like I said, this movie overall is not very good. It's entertaining, definitely entertaining. Once we get on the island, finally stuff is happening. But I don't want to bore you guys any more than I already have. So, summary, we get on the island, we do the mission, we extract the DNA from the animals, we lose like 3 crew members along the way, and then we find out that the white man, Corporal Man, tried to kill the little girl on the ship, because he's white Corporal Man, and then he ends up getting eaten by a dinosaur, and then we get off the island, and then we're having a nice touching moment where they're playing the Jurassic Park music, the classic theme by John Williams. We're sailing off as the sun rises, just like the original ending, where they're flying off as the sun rises. And then we get a nice moment where Scarlett Johansson and her love interest, they're talking about what do we do with the DNA now? Because originally the Corporal White Man wanted to use it for corrupt, shady reasons, right? He wanted to make the patent for himself so that he would have a monopoly on Big Pharma when they distribute the rights to this medication from the dinosaur DNA. And then because he's dead, now they are in control of it. he tells Scarlett Johansson, we're going to give it away for free to everybody. So we're going to cure the world of cancer and stuff. Well, good luck with that. I'm not even sure if that's realistic, but, you know, nice intention, nice sentiment, I guess. And you think Scarlett Johansson's about to give him a big fat old kiss, like, ooh, we're about to get our moment. Come on, let's get our moment. Nope. Movie ends. They have a nice smile at each other. She doesn't even take his hand. They don't get to hold hands. She doesn't even peck him on the cheek. She doesn't get to kiss him, let alone... God damn it, dude! I thought he was going to get down with Scarlett Johansson. My God, man. And then that's the end of the movie. And I walked away from this initially thinking, yeah, that was good. Except for the beginning. And then I got home, sat down, had a meal, got to think on it, and I'm like, that was mid. So, lesson learned. Don't drop your Snickers bar wrappers. Don't litter. Because you might cause the frickin' apocalypse. The apocalypse was caused because of product placement. Anyway, guys, that was the video. This was my biggest rant ever. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next one. You're not you without a Snickers.